Thank you and welcome you all for this discussion. So in this short fireside chat that we set up for here, so we'll talk about how security is becoming so central and so is the privacy basically, right? From the context of the global operations like GCC, in the context of GCC. So without taking much of time, I'll start with Upendra, right? So data is so central nowadays with the businesses that we have been doing basically, right? And then ethical issues around data is quite well discussed. So in the context of this global operation that you run, how do you see data ethics issues shaping the way things are happening?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for having me, nasscom. I come from United States. I live in Silicon Valley, and Shobha and I, we are talking about it, what Silicon Valley is, Silicon Valley, Bangalore. Actually, I live in Silicon Valley, San Jose, California for 3 decades, so it's always an honor to be here. Motherland is always very close to my heart, and that's where I am here, so it's a privilege to be here. So when we talk about data ethics, and when we talk about managing it across globally, so we have about TIAA is that in about 50 different countries. And we manage $1.4 trillion asset under management. It's a Fortune 100 company. And data ethics becomes absolutely a pivotal, and how we manage that in the ESG context becomes pivotal for TIAA. So the way we look at it is we break it into 3 parts. The first part is customers, because customers is at the core of TIAA. So what happens to the consent of customers? Whenever we give any policies, the privacy policies, the security policies, do they have clarity? So that is the first part, the customers. The second part that comes in there is how do we manage this within our ecosystem? So are we consistent across these 50 different countries and across globe? Are we managing that consistently? Do we have enough controls in place so that we can protect the data both from security perspective as well as privacy perspective? And do we have proper controls across the globe? And lastly is the consequences and harm model. So what that means, Vinayak and Shobha, is that when we are looking at customers, the consent and do they have clarity? When we are looking at the enterprise, when we have proper controls and we have consistent implementation across the globe, do we know what the consequences and harmability score is? So that is how globally we manage data ethics and cyber.
So Shobha, these consequences is sometimes very tacit, right? But can you really measure and let organization know these are the challenges and that measures into these numbers basically, and use that quantification to get more commitment for cybersecurity?
Thanks, Vinayak. Before I answer that, I want to thank my firm, Morgan Stanley, for giving me this opportunity to be part of the session. And I want to thank nasscom to help me be here with this esteemed panel. So we are talking about ethics, data, and from cybersecurity perspective, how do we measure it? This can happen if we look at all of this in an integrated way. So there are a lot of challenges with gathering the right kind of data to get the right visibility on any of the cybersecurity related metrics. I'm sure you have faced it when you look at data, right? There's a quality issue in data. And the same data, because of, I would say, the mindset each of us have, can be sliced and diced and presented in any which way that we would want. So we are the owners of that data, and we can present it to showcase or share what we want to drive or transform within our own areas. But what matters is ethics. I would be happy to see if someone here agrees that humans are 100%, by 100%, ethical, follow ethics in everything they do. Do we really do that? is the question. So the answer, even if one of you raise your hand, say that from morning, as soon as I wake up, to the time I go to bed, 100% I'm ethically abided by everything I do, we don't need this panel discussion.
No.
Because that will lead to all the data that gets generated in the personal life, the data that gets generated by various tools and technologies in any enterprise, and the data then on goes into measuring the cybersecurity related KPIs. When we look at the KPIs, it has to be, again, broken into the risk factors. What is the insight we are going to get by looking at the major risk factors? And these risk factors should be aligned to enabling a business. And if the data that I get and the metrics I create is not addressing a major risk that is helping me to continue to run the business or an initiative, then it is of no use. So I feel all these elements have to be integrated. It has to be an integrated approach. Look at the risk, come up with the KPIs, and put in the right things that will help us to take the right action.
So as we are with you, so this equation of managing risk, right, and every business transaction is in a way getting so unbundled. So many geographies, so many environment is coming in place. And we also have a lot of third party that we engage in doing our businesses basically, right? So the risk coming from them is also part of this basically. This is on one hand. Other hand, compliances are becoming so stringent and so specific, right? So how do you then this equation you manage? So as it is becoming more complicated, so how do you manage this equation and derive some significant insights out of it and use that to really make your risk management plan?
Yeah, I think it's a very complex situation that we have to manage. We have no option to go. And my aspiration is that we don't call anyone as a third party. Why should someone be a third party? I'll take a simple analogy. So when we drive on the road, if we follow the signals appropriately, we are first party. It is there to protect our, I would say, oneself from various mishaps that can happen. We don't break the signals. It is there for doing the, taking care of ourselves. Similarly, if I'm using a third-party product, though I don't want to call it as a third-party product, because once I bring in a third-party product, it becomes an integrated product helping me to achieve a business function.
Yeah.
So can each of these third-party products think and embed security when they do the offering?
Yeah.
Then life becomes simple.
Yeah.
So it has to address a use case or a business problem, but can it embed security into everything that it does? Can it embed resiliency into everything that it does? Can it take care of some of the regulatory, regional privacy requirements when we are doing it? So when all these basic core elements are taken care by any of the third party, then it becomes so simple for me to manage the complex scenarios within. Because within the enterprise, we can direct on how do we take care of risk in terms of privacy that we will have to take care within a region, or resiliency aspects, or various cyber aspects, be with identity access management, or network security, or endpoint security, application security, all at the infra level and also at the application level, right? So I think my aspiration is that it is a pretty complex world, but we also live in an integrated world. If all of us do our job well by embedding security, privacy, and resiliency in the offerings, life will be simple in future.
But when there is a complexity of this nature, on one hand, the volume and velocity of the things that we do is increasing so fast, right? Last 5-6 years of time, AI is playing certainly a critical role to solve cybersecurity problems, right? But generative AI is taking it, we'll talk about challenges of generative AI for security privacy, but how the AI is helping to address these volume, velocity, complexity, demand of accuracy, compliances.
Yeah, so when we think about AI, AI has been happening in the world for ages. I mean, most of you have been working on AI for decades.
Yeah.
November 2022, what happened was with LLMs, suddenly there was a different level of awareness of AI called generative AI, where the AI itself started generating content simplistically. It could be text, it could be videos, it could be audios. So that's where when you go into the cyber side of the world, the deep fakes and cloning and other kind of things come in. So when we are thinking about AI and how do we address the risk, my philosophy has been is that we cannot fight the battle with, against missiles and AK-47s with bows and arrows. We have to use AK-47s and missiles to fight against AK-47s. So we cannot kid ourselves. The attackers are going to use Gen AI in an unethical way, to Shobha's point. And there is no mercy over here. It's going to be very ruthless. So we have to be all prepared, whoever is there and whoever will be listening, we all have to be prepared and aware that AI is going to be a cyber risk. So we knew this. The way we approached within TIAA is that we have created two parts within the cyber organization. So the first part is cyber for AI. And the second part is AI for cyber.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Cyber for AI means that we want to enable our businesses to do AI. And how can we come up with foundational security where we just simply unleash our engineers, unleash our business guys, unleash our marketing people, unleash our digital experiences people to use AI, but use it securely. I personally believe is that simplicity, even though we say it's a very complex world, but I personally believe that simplicity and security can coexist, can thrive together. Now, going on to the AI for cyber, what that means is, again, using the same analogy, Vinayak and Shobha, where we can go ahead and use AI to defend against the bad guys, to protect our clients, our participants, our customers. And for that, there needs to be lots of innovation, lots of partnership. Within our TIAA, we consider cyber is a team sport. We also extend it. Cyber is a community sport. So cyber, where we have three concentric circles. The first concentric circle, obviously, is TIAA. The second concentric circle is how do we include our clients and customers in the part of that ecosystem so that they're all part of it. The third thing is that we partner very closely with external, like private sectors, public sectors. In fact, we were very privileged to contribute to a paper with Department of Treasury very recently they published that actually talks about AI risks, the risks introduced for cyber and fraud due to AI, and we were very honored to contribute to that paper. So that is how we are looking at the AI with cyber for AI and AI for cyber.
So somebody is trying to build something for security, and somebody is expert in AI for that matter. I think cybersecurity throws quite interesting challenges to build new solutions, right? While there's a third-party vendors may be helping you with this, but when you manage your security, is it you manage or you also need to invest engineering security, right? You do internal lot of innovations around it.
Yeah, so there are multiple parts to it, as you know. So we have to govern, all right? So governance angle, we have a responsible AI policy, which not only includes the responsible, but whether it is trustworthy, whether it is secure, whether it is safe, and lastly, whether it is resilient.
Yeah.
So that is the governance aspect
Yeah.
of it. In addition, what we are doing is that we are partnering with lots of startups in cyber and AI, And some of them, of course, are US born, some are Israel born, and I will encourage the India communities, startup community, to come and partner with us, where we are doing lots of innovation. I'm very proud, it's potentially a hot off the press, is that very proud to say that TIAA won CISO 50 award, which will be announced very soon, third time in a row, and this year it is mainly related to AI security and cyber. So to answer your question, it is going to be both governance and managing it, but we are also very heavily invested in engineering, data science, as well as crafting and embedding it into our ecosystem.
So Shobha, skill is a key part in cyber, right? It's such a complex and such a intense and such a operationally heavy at the same time, engineering and innovation heavy as well. And that's the reason that we see many GCCs are putting a lot of their cyber work in India. So we always say cyber GCCs basically. So help us understand from the overall GCC perspective, what you get in this geography. And you build team here basically, what value you are delivering out of India to the overall cybersecurity that Morgan Stanley must be managing.
Sure, but before answering that, I just want to add a point to what Upendra mentioned, and that is related to building the cybersecurity related products.
Yeah.
A lot of initiatives from your end, very glad to hear that. One mindset that I would definitely see as a takeaway for all of you who want to build products is embed security into it. Secure by default, so that no one can exploit the services that you build, and secure by design. So when you're designing itself, have security in the thought process. So security will not be an after effect. It cannot be something that will just top up like a plum on an ice cream, right? It has to be embedded. When every taste or bite of an ice cream should feel that, okay, security is part of it, and you need to enjoy it. And that is what I would want to convey. Every product that is built out of India should be secure, reliable, and people should close their eyes and say that, yes, this product has all the things that I would need and safe to use. So that is what I would want to see as a takeaway. Coming back to skills and the talent, I would say India has got great talent. I'm the example. No, I'm just kidding. So we have the talent that we would need. But is it ready to be up and address all the nuances, the risk the emerging tech is bringing in? No. Because the emerging tech is kind of coming into play. And as these tech come in, the talent is able to address the known risk. We are not even sure of what are the risks that these emerging techs are bringing to our way. So there is an element of upskill that is needed for the talent that is available in the market at this point of time to meet the challenges for the emerging tech. But leaving that part aside, if we want to look at the skills development, there are various initiatives I believe all of us are part of. We want to invest in giving back in terms of bringing the cyber opportunities that exist at grassroots, giving back in terms of contributing our knowledge in various round table conferences that we get to attend, giving back in terms of the leadership skills that can invest in upbringing the right talent, which is not just cybersecurity specific, I think overall technology. So I think we have all the talent. We have talent to an extent that is needed to address the market needs. We have the talent to address the emerging tech needs, but there's a little work that is, I would say, a continuous effort that should go on. All of us should contribute to help our next generation have the skills that is needed for all of us.
So Upendra, there is a report that we put in every 2 years on secure in India. You secure from India and use this capability, right? US and India are those two geography which provides those kind of skill. Help us how the global companies like you have been leveraging capabilities here, and what will be the future of it briefly so that we can also get some audience to ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so from TIAA perspective, we don't care whether you sleep in Pune Whether you sleep in Mumbai, whether you sleep in Charlotte, whether you sleep in New York, it doesn't really matter. You are a colleague, you are an employee, you are equally empowered regardless of your location. In fact, right after this, I'm going to London. We have teams in London as well, similar message. So, talent, I have not seen any talent gap over here. We have extremely talented people. Some of my colleagues are over here. We are building the teams, so please reach out to Deepak, who may be roaming around somewhere over here. But the point is, from the global perspective, at least I can tell about TIAA, where we don't care much about where the person goes, eats, sleeps, so long as it's contributing to the mission of the organization, and that's how we are addressing this.
Yeah. Thank you, Upendra and Shobha. We have some 4 or 5 minutes. Any question from the audience to this panel? Okay, let me then take the conversation ahead. So Shobha talked about emerging technology, right? They also provide opportunity for cybersecurity, and they also throw challenges for cybersecurity. And AI is a big elephant in the room, but I'm also worried about what is happening in semiconductor, what is happening in some other areas, basically. Let's try to throw some light on those technology, not AI, but those technology, and see what.
Wonderful. So, before I close, I want to make sure that I don't forget to say one thing, and I'll answer your question. The subject of this particular talk is more about tech risk, right? In my mind, cyber is more than tech risk. It's an existential risk to the organization. And I don't want to name companies, but some companies, products that have been hit, will we consider buying their products? Right? We'll have to think not only twice, thrice, 4 times, because it is not just tech risk, it is not a business risk, it is existential risk to the companies. That said, when we are talking about the emerging, I'm just pivoting to your question, Vinayak. When we talk about emerging, we have obviously Web 3.0 technologies, where we talk about DLTs. Now, the Bitcoin is up. I don't know if you have checked, but at least $67,000 was the price now. So which is pretty going up over there. So the crypto winter is gone, hopefully. Then we are seeing lots of metaverses, with the ARs, VRs, those technologies are coming up. And then we are also seeing quantum, with qubits, that is coming up. We are in a very early stage for the quantum within TIAA, which we will take up potentially in 2025. Yeah. But we are pretty much integrated in the metaverse, where we are creating metaverses and experiences for our customers. The security and privacy becomes very critical in these kinds of things, especially when we are creating avatars and when they do the iris scan and whole persona, and when as soon as you start getting into the social form, it becomes extremely critical to bake in security, to really embed secure by design and by default. CISA actually very recently created Secure by Design pledge. That we are all, contributed to with Jen Esterly and team. Phenomenal work done at CISA's level. So the point is, as we are looking at these emerging technologies, as technologists, as cyber professionals, we cannot take our eye off the ball on these technologies.
So, Shobha, I want you to comment with whatever short time available. So this decade is supposed to be a decade for possibilities of security. Yes, we do talk about the concerns of security, but security also throws a lot of possibilities for somebody like you or me, or so many new engineers plus startups plus a lot of people working in India. So what are those possibilities that we see from now? Very briefly, so that we can close in the time. Yeah.
So I think there's endless possibility. So in any other domain, if you work, it cannot be ever engaging and challenging, but cyber is an area that will always be interesting and so many things to accomplish and contribute to the world. So all of us want to live in a world which is secure, and that can happen if you have a little appetite on doing things a little bit better, keeping safety in mind, doing a little bit better in making that security as a giving back as well. So those are two things I feel is going to transform the way we offer anything to ourselves to consume in the world and also offer for others to consume in the world.
And with that positive outlook of possibilities of cyber in coming decade and next 7 8 years of time, I believe that's the opportunity that get created, opportunity which is get created for the new engineers, the startups here, the professionals like us as well, right? So on that note, I would certainly like to conclude this session, a short session, but really in the short session, we could able to really touch on various different aspects, challenges and opportunity as well. And for doing that, please, you sure that these two speakers here has really contributed a lot, and please join me to give big hand to both of them, Upendra and Shobha.
Thanks, Vinayak.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
For more content on tech and leadership, subscribe to NASSCOM YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.